Hello. Are you a real estate investor who wants to get into mobile home parks, but you feel like you're missing the knowledge to do it right? Listen, if you want to add between $300,000 and $3 million to your net worth on your next mobile home park deal, this is the most important video you'll watch today. And make sure you stay until the end because I've got a special announcement for the first 10 people only. Most real estate investors think the hardest part of mobile home parks is finding a deal, but that's not true. The hardest part is actually buying the right deal and then knowing how to operate it so it actually makes you wealthy. Here's the truth. You don't need 2,000 pads to be successful with mobile home parks. You don't need massive construction projects, and you don't need some mythical off-market unicorn deal that does not exist. You just need to buy right and operate right. When you do those two things, the wealth creation for mobile home parks is massive. And it's so much more achievable than most people realize. So quick note before I keep going, if at any point you know that you want to learn to create massive wealth and cash flow from mobile home parks, go ahead and click the button right there. You can schedule a short 20-minute call with me. It's not a sales call, it's just a conversation to see if this makes sense. My name is Corey, by the way. I've been buying, improving, and operating mobile home parks for over a decade. On my very first park, I made 9 times my investment over 5 years. And since 2021, I've also raised capital through Freedom Investing Group to help passive investors earn strong returns in mobile home parks without having to do any of the work. And through all of that outreach, I kept hearing the same thing. Hey, Corey, I actually want to do this myself, but I just don't know where to start. And so that's why I built the Mobile Home Park Operators Guild to help you through your first or next deal so that you buy the right park, avoid expensive mistakes, and create life-changing cash flow and net worth for you and your family. So let me show you what this actually looks like. On one of our parks, Santa Rita Heights, we created about $2.3 million in value in just the first 3 years, starting with only $800,000 of capital. That's not even what I'm the most proud of. The part I'm the most proud of is that during those same 3 years, 2021 to 2024, interest rates skyrocketed and prices for almost all commercial real estate went down. So we did not get lucky with timing. This is a story where we actually got unlucky, and we still managed to triple our investors' net worth. So a lot of operators, especially in the apartment space, over that same period of time, actually lost their investors' money. So why did we succeed when others didn't? We bought right and we operated right. And the good news is this is not magic. It's not actually that complicated once you understand the systems. So zooming out for a second, timing in mobile home parks matters. Right now, we are in a full-blown affordable housing crisis, and mobile home parks are the most affordable form of housing out there, period. And they're not building any more of them. So the demand is crazy high and the supply is low and fixed. At the same time, there's a bunch of large private equity groups that have figured this out too, and they are gobbling up all the mobile home parks as fast as they can buy them. But right now there is still a window. This industry is fragmented. So that means that most parks are still owned by mom and pop investors. These are the first generation folks that actually built them, or maybe the second generation kids of theirs that inherited them. So good deals still exist, especially for the operators who know how to buy and run these parks well, but that window will not stay open forever. Every year that you wait, every deal you pass on because you're unsure of how to underwrite it or operate it has a real cost. What would that deal have meant to you 5 years, 10 years down the road? What would it have meant to your family? So how does the Operators Guild actually work? Everything inside the program is built around 2 pillars: buy right and operate right. So the first pillar is to buy right. Most investors are stuck on an endless treadmill. They're either cold calling nonstop or they're beating themselves up because they're not cold calling enough and they're still not finding deals worth pursuing. Inside the guild, I'm going to show you how to build a system where the right deals come to you, rather than you having to go out and chase the deals. I will teach you how to analyze parks so that you'll know before you buy them. This will help you avoid expensive mistakes and give you the confidence to go when you actually do find a good deal. We're gonna go deep on due diligence, utilities, infrastructure, collections, tenant behavior, the things that save you from 6-figure expenses later. We're also gonna cover capital. How much money do you actually need to buy a park safely? What about reserves? And when does it make sense to raise money from other people? And how do you actually do that without putting yourself in a bad spot? By the way, I said earlier that you can add $300,000 to $3 million to your net worth on your next deal. Where am I getting those numbers? Well, it's actually really simple. Let me show you. It all comes down to something called NOI. That's net operating income. And all it is the profit that a park makes after the expenses. In commercial real estate, property values are based on a multiple of net operating income. So when NOI goes up, the value goes up. And I actually didn't understand the power and implications of this until several years into my mobile home park journey. And once I got it, it blew my mind. You see, you control the NOI. You can increase it. And even a small increase in NOI creates a huge increase in the value of the property and thus to your net worth. Remember earlier when I said that all the parks are still owned by the mom and pops, first and second generation folks? They haven't done a very good job of taking care of these parks, and they have certainly not maximized the NOI. So I think there's actually more what we call value add potential to raise the NOI of mobile home parks than there is in any other asset class right now. And you can increase the NOI by just $21,000 a year at a 7% cap rate. That adds $300,000 in value to the park and to your net worth. And if you can increase it by $210,000 a year, which we've done, that's $3 million. That's not magic, it's just math. So how do you do this? How do you increase the NOI? Well, that's what I'm going to teach you inside the Mobile Home Park Operators Guild. But here's a hint. Once you've bought the right park, It all comes down to operations, which is why the second pillar is operate right. Once you own the park, the real work begins. You've got to do collections, rule enforcement, managing the on-site staff, CapEx, infill, more infill, community improvements. It's not glamorous stuff and it's not complicated, but getting it right is what separates the success from failure in mobile home parks. And it's where the opportunity lies because so many of these parks are so undermanaged. Just go drive around and look at a few. There's so many out there with so much potential, but they're ugly and they have empty lots. How can you have empty lots when something has so much demand and so little supply? How can you have vacancy? It's not due to a lack of demand. It's because the current owners haven't gone to the effort to fill up those lots and to clean up the park so that people would actually want to live there. So inside a guild, I'm going to give you the systems and tools to upgrade these things because by cleaning them up, filling them up, and charging a fair price, you can both improve the lives of the residents who live there and create massive wealth for you and your family. So let me be very clear. This is not just a course. It's not just a bunch of videos. We do have those. We have training, templates, tools, but that's not what you're really buying. You are paying for judgment. You are paying to avoid expensive mistakes. This is decision support for $1 million choices. When you join, you're going to start with a one-on-one operator battle plan meeting with me, where we're going to cut through all the noise and build a focused execution plan around your goals and your specific situation. Then we're going to do quarterly check-ins where we can reassess and prioritize to make sure that you're working on the things that actually move the needle. There's so many things you could do out there, and so many people get stuck just because they don't know which direction to go and which things to focus on. So just these two things alone can justify the investment, because clarity at the right moment can be worth hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. And before you submit offers, you're going to get pre-offer deal reviews so you don't make catastrophic mistakes. We're also going to pressure test your capital plans, reserves, assumptions, because most deals that fail actually do so because of capital mistakes and not because it's a bad property. Twice a month, we're going to run live operator war room calls where you bring real problems and we will solve them together. And when things go sideways, you have 24/7 access to a private Slack community with me and other dedicated mobile home park operators that will have your back. And just to be real with you for a second, things will go wrong. I've been there, and I would have paid more than this membership just for some good guidance at that moment. This program is not cheap, but it's also not an expense. It's an investment. And if you're getting less than a 10x return on this investment, then I'm doing something wrong, and I will work relentlessly to make sure that you succeed. So let me show you a few real-world examples of how this has worked in real life. So the first is Santa Rita Heights that I mentioned earlier. When we bought it, the weeds were up to our knees, vacancies everywhere. The manager quit the week before we closed. The residents were frustrated. So what did? We hired the right manager. We surveyed residents. We fixed the real problems. We filled the empty lots. We enforced the rules, and we more than doubled the net operating income. That's how we added $2.3 million in value. And that park now cash flows like a beast. Next up is Alturas, my very first mobile home park. That one was a 12-lot deal, about a 10-minute bike ride from my house. I invested about $100,000 into it. Cleaned it up, filled the vacancies, built back utilities, and stabilized the operations. Kind of generally made it run better. And within 5 years, the cash flow, combined with a few other small parks, covered all of our living expenses. That's pretty cool. That means my engineering job became optional. That means I had reached financial freedom. Such a good feeling. I want you to be there too. And by the time I sold that park, I had pulled out over $900,000 of cash on my $100,000 investment. Finally, Ash Grove. This is a newer deal that we're going through right now. We're about a year and a half in. This was the classic ugly park in a beautiful location, which is my favorite kind of deal. I was surrounded by rolling hills and beautiful homes, but it was ugly. It had crumbling roads, overgrowth, 26 vacant lots, and a damaged relationship with the county. They were butting heads with the previous owner, which was causing real problems for them as far as trying to operate, working with the local jurisdiction. So what did we do? We gave it a total facelift. We repaved the roads. We redid the landscaping, fencing, signage, infill, and more infill. And as of today, I estimate that we have added over $2 million in equity in the first 18 months, and we're not even close to done there yet. And those aren't the only wins. At Alturas, I got a 62% IRR. At 39th Street Mobile Home Park, 121% IRR. 43rd Street Mobile Home Park, 63% IRR. Oak Tree Manor, 22%. Santa Rita Heights, as of our cash out refinance, 42%. Park Meadowland West, 43%. So I'm not trying to brag, but I just want to show you what's possible when you do it right. Also, not trying to say it's been rainbows and sunshine the whole time, because I've made my fair share of mistakes, and some of those were big. And you're going to make mistakes too, but there's no reason you have to make the same mistakes that I did. You can learn from my experiences and the collective experiences of the group and use that as a shortcut. So if you do it right, mobile home park investing is so lucrative. The pluses so far outweigh the losses that it's staggering. So why did I get into mobile home parks in the first place? Well, before real estate, I was a structural engineer working 60 to 80 hour weeks. One week, I didn't see my 1-year-old son awake. Not one time. I went to work before he woke up, and by the time I came home, he was already asleep. That Sunday, I was in the office as usual, and I said, gosh darn it, I'm gonna go home and put my kid to bed. And so I got home, and when I went to take him from my wife, he started screaming, he started crying, clawing, trying to get back to mom. Total stranger danger mode. That was the moment when I realized I had become a stranger to my own son. And that broke my heart. Fast forward several years after that, and mobile home parks gave me my time back. They gave me my life back. But figuring this out took years of trial and error. So I built the Operators Guild so you don't have to go through the same slow learning curve that I went through. With us, you're going to get to start with clarity, confidence, and a roadmap that works. So I've talked to a lot of people who want to invest in mobile home parks, and most of them have not moved forward. Why? I break it down to 3 reasons. Either they're chasing unicorn deals that just don't exist, and when they don't find them, they beat themselves up because they haven't done enough cold calling, or they're making offers, but the offers are getting rejected because the brokers don't trust that they'll actually close, or they bought parks and they bought the wrong park and they spent years fixing avoidable mistakes. So I should give one caveat. This program is not for dabblers. If you're going to sign up and not take action, you should just save your money. But if you are serious about building a mobile home park business that changes your life, I would love to help you get there. Earlier, I mentioned a special offer. So for the first 10 members that sign up, they're going to get a lifetime 50% founding member rate. Once those spots are gone, they're gone forever. But I would love to have you be one of them. So if this sounds like a win for you, please click the button right there to schedule a short 20-minute call with me, and we'll chat and see if this makes sense. Thanks, and talk to you soon.